Snot League! Snot League! Snot League! Snot League!
Oi, you magnificent bloodthirsty watchers! Welcome to the roaring kickoff of Snot League Season 10, only on Telesnot! The pitch is freshly painted, the coffins are polished. Hope this time we order enough. And we've got 18 brand new crews ready to paint the grass red. I'm your host, Henry Snotson. And today, I'm joined by the absolute legend who just lifted the cup last season, Coach Rijssiej, the rat-cunning mastermind who turned a team nobody gave a bent farthing for into champions. Welcome, Rijssiej!
Henry Snotson, your energy output remains consistent with prior observation. Your summary contains two inaccuracies. The Cheezgrinders were not nobody. They were an under-modeled roster with unrealized removal efficiency. And I am not rat cunning. Rats rely on instinct. I rely on proof. However, your welcome is statistically sincere. I accept it. You may proceed.
Right, you won with a squad the bookies laughed at. How does it feel to personally bankrupt the remaining half of the dwarven betting syndicates in one glorious run?
Bookmakers do not concern themselves with probability. They concern themselves with perception of probability. The Cheezgrinders were perceived as weak, chaotic, and defensively limited. All correct observations, but improperly weighted. Did you know that rats in particular are highly malleable? When the correct incentives are applied, they readily follow tactical instruction. Once incentives are aligned with strategy, even the most chaotic of players become variables under control. As for the dwarven syndicates, bankruptcy implies error magnitude exceeding reserve buffers. That is regrettable for them, but emotionally neutral for me. The title was not triumph over gamblers. It was proof that, with the right leverage, variables can be aligned to desired outcomes.
Your Cheezgrinders partied till dawn, I bet. Did they take the news of the off-season break well? Or are they still gnawing the furniture in withdrawal?
Celebration is a decompression reflex following sustained risk exposure. It has limited strategic value, but a moderate morale stabilization effect. Yes, the Cheezgrinders engaged in nocturnal consumption, structural damage, and competitive drinking contests involving industrial solvents. These behaviors were anticipated. Furniture damage was contained to 3 locations, all statistically replaceable.
Right then, are you ready to meet the next 18 glorious monsters who'll try to dethrone you?
Each roster, or as you call them, monster, presents a set of constants and variables. 18 teams equal 18 distinct probability matrices. Each matrix can be solved. I am ready to test my models.
That's the spirit. Let's crack on with Group A. First up, something magical. Want to see a magic trick? The Unseen University is here to entertain you. Led by their indestructible, magnificently rotund Arch-Chancellor, Mustrum Ridcully, the most adipose, athletic wizard Ankh-Morpork has ever produced. Seems Coach Brutus's coaching style fits them like a glove. He looks delighted, doesn't he, Rijssiej?
He sure does, but his emotional state has negligible effect on predicted play outcomes. It is good to see my former colleagues finally having the nerves to sign up. Make sure to keep an eye on the librarian. He will cause issues for a lot of his opposition, as he did on my library visits.
Never a dull moment with the undead halflings. Next up is Bad to the Bones, ready to spread death and destruction in their delightfully malevolent miniature form. Tiny terrors with big appetites for carnage. What do you make of these pint-sized horrors, Rijssiej?
Well, they surely will outnumber their opponents, but can they convert those numbers to TDs? That will be Coach Orso's biggest challenge.
At long last, Slaanesh! But to Coach Misha's eternal despair, it won't be him. The pain and pleasure Incarnate, led by a debut coach in our format, is guaranteed not to disappoint.
Slaanesh are an agile team with some strong hitters. On paper, one of the favorites for sure, but will going for a debut coach come to bite them? Only time will tell.
Oh yes, the pleasure will be exquisite. The pain exquisiter. Moving swiftly on before we get censored. Better keep your eyes on the sky, gentlemen. The dragons are back. If you thought your cages were safe, think again. The Scaly Bruisers are here. As a scholar, you must have considerable knowledge on the subject of dragons. Any observations or advice, Rijssiej?
Well, Henry, I can tell you they are Draconians, not real dragons. Nonetheless, they add an aerial cage breach vector, which is something their opponents need to be aware of.
Wise words. One thing is certain. When those wings cast a shadow over the pitch, even the bravest blockers start reconsidering their life choices. Remember when Joseph Moranion bought a ticket on the first ship out of town? Where did it take him? Cathay? Magnificent land, wouldn't you say?
Cathay produces disciplined hybrid teams, mobility supported by structure. If Moranion adopted the local doctrine, they will be patient and precise.
As the old proverb goes, Joseph will always, but always, find himself a new Blood Bowl squad. And so it is this time. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the Fu-Chow Jaded Lions. Cathayan grace meets Moranion's relentless hunger for victory. This promises to be intriguing.
Cathay isn't the only team that's been dug up from Season 1. Dr. Kloss clearly sees his path to the finals in these relentless undead constructs. Proper Frankenstein's monsters on the pitch, stitched together for one purpose: winning.
They do not fatigue, fear, or hesitate, only execute.
I'm curious if he'll manage to shield those tiny, fragile ball carriers properly. Wait, how does that thing even run with the ball? Waddle like a zombie duck?
The giant hand walks on its fingers, index and middle bearing weight, others stabilizing. The thumb and remaining digits keep the ball compressed in the palm throughout the crawl.
Right. Let's move on to Group B.
Here come the Dwarfs! One might say a season without the Beardies is a season lost. Grimnir's Fury, a full squad of slayers thirsty for honourable and dishonourable death. Rijssiej, your take on this walking suicide squad?
Slayers are terminal vectors, absolute commitment, extreme durability, and zero tactical withdrawal make them uniquely dangerous because they cannot be discouraged by loss. But inevitability without flexibility is exploitable. Isolate them, control space, and even death seekers become solvable variables.
Funny thing, Showas once swore we'd kill the Slayers if they ever dared show their faces again. And look where they landed. Same group. Nuffle has a wicked sense of humour.
Prior threats increase present volatility, which increases spectacle, not outcome certainty.
Speaking of Coach Showas, he's back. And this time with the Xandri Zealots. Anyone who thinks Khemrian teams can't play passing game is in for a very lethal surprise. These lads apparently can. Allegedly. Rijssiej?
Xandri passing isn't impossible, but merely inefficient. If the Xandri Zealots attempt aerial play, they exchange reliability for surprise lethality. That trade can succeed briefly, but over a season, inefficiency compounds.
If Showas has finally taught mummies how to throw, the league may never recover. Those who watched the draw surely remember which team Horn ended up with.
Not again!
Luckily for him, he's already coached them once, so he got a second chance. Our not particularly fan of elves friends' wrathful prayers have finally been answered by Tzeentch's demons.
Blessing and curse are interpretive labels applied after outcomes. From a probabilistic perspective, Horn has received a volatility engine as Tzeentch rosters exhibit extreme variance.
Tzeentch only knows, but he's not sharing. Typical. Is it just me, or did someone crank up the heater in here?
Are you referring to the Hellblazers here?
Oh! Fire elementals! They didn't exactly set the world alight last time, but this crew feels decidedly hotter. Straight from the most violently erupting volcano come the Hellblazers. As always with elementals, they've brought a few equally fiery friends from the other planes. This promises to be a scorching season.
Their opponents better hide their flammables.
Since we've had dwarfs, it's only fair we get some elves. And this time we're throwing a bit of sunshine on them. Hehe. Temple Guard Sun Elves, not your typical knife-eared speed freaks. These lads are a touch slower, but still agile. Bit of an odd choice though, isn't it? They're still wearing about as much armor as a summer dress.
They are slower than the conventional elves, but they field wizards that are masters of disruption. Opponents need to take advantage of their less than optimal armor before the Sun Elves amplify their disrupting threats.
And here come the elves, the dwarfs. So naturally we must have goblins. And not just any goblins. These are the truly nasty nocturnal variety. Better brace yourselves for every dirty trick in the book, because goblins never play fair. Rijssiej, any personal experience with these little green menaces?
Yes, goblins externalize variance, fouls, devices, asymmetry, rule bending. They replace structural strength with disruption density. I have coached a squig team early in my career. Their lesson was clear. Chaos is trainable, but only briefly.
Precisely. The Stalkers are going to sow chaos, just like their infamous predecessors from Season 5. Expect fouls, chains, hidden weapons, secret weapons, and probably a few referees ending up in the crowd. This is going to be gloriously underhanded. We begin Group C, and look who's back for the 5th time in Snot League. The Snakes, your new squad. What do you make of this draw, Rijssiej?
They are chaos expressed as motion. Acceptable. Motion is measurable.
Snakes have always slithered tantalizingly close to the trophy, but never quite wrapped their coils around it. Interesting coincidence that they've now allied themselves with the coach defending the title.
Their near-success profile and my control framework are statistically complementary. They provide velocity and reach. I provide inevitability.
It's not just snakes returning, their nemesis is back as well. The engineers of Nuln, or more precisely the 25th Regiment Rejects, and yes, they're wheeling a tank onto the pitch again. Our green-fingered teams are already weeping in despair.
The tank increases threat density along predictable vectors. Predictable vectors are solvable. Probability favors preparation, not intimidation.
Nothing says subtle, quite like a steam tank crushing the center line. Let's see how many players will survive the opening whistle. Straight from the gloomy Imperial graveyards come the cultists of Moor. Haha, Rijssiej. Is this particular flavor of death worship familiar to you?
Death cults are structurally consistent across regions. Reverence for inevitability produces disciplined, sacrifice-tolerant teams.
Either way, these specialists in undeath seem to have landed in entirely the wrong group. Poor lads walked into group with no undead. Thoughts?
In high-casualty environments, morale collapse determines failure. They will not collapse. Therefore, they are not in the wrong group. They are in their element.
Oh, I still miss Coach Misha's old squad. Those green goddesses, the way they moved, the power, the curves. My heart hasn't quite recovered.
Personal longing is irrelevant for competitive projection.
The Savage War are back on their training grounds, pumping iron and roaring. But it looks like Misha already has his eye on a new team. And what a team it is. Milk Warriors. Cows? Personally, I prefer his previous team.
Milk Warriors project extreme contact lethality and territorial dominance. But it is nearly impossible to have them follow logic and strategy. That will be Coach Misha's biggest challenge this season.
For the 4th time, the caravan rolls in straight from Araby, led by the charismatic Sheikh Kinsley himself. Another squad that simply refuses to stay away from our league. They keep coming back like a bad rash. What do you make of their persistence, Rijssiej?
Araby caravans typically combine mobility, trickery, and opportunistic striking. Persistence increases experiential advantage across seasons.
These lads seem to have a rather culinary bent. One wonders if that spice rack will actually help them on the pitch. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the kebabs, because nothing says Blood Bowl quite like a skewer of grilled opponents. Rijssiej, any thoughts on whether their secret sauce will be enough to win games, or just make the post-match barbecue legendary?
Flavor metaphors aside, culinary theming does not alter competitive parameters. However, preparation rituals can reinforce cohesion and shared identity.
Well said. Either way, I'm already hungry. Let's meet our last team.
After his wild adventures with those military gnomes, Coach PP, better known as Bua, decided to dive into a new thrilling team. And not just any old rabble, the Zealots are back!
Zealots combine mass, reach, and independent durability, a rare hybrid of strength and autonomy. They do not require dense support webs, which grants flexible formation integrity.
Why settle for bog-standard lizards when you can have their 4-on-4 monster truck version? Ha ha! Wrapping up our lineup are the off-road lizards. Wow, this season is shaping up to be an absolute bloodbath. Proper exciting, eh, Rijssiej?
Excitement correlates with perceived volatility. This season's roster distribution does increase casualty probability density.
I can already smell the gore on the wind. And while we're at it, the league's getting a little shake-up this time round. We're kicking off with a qualification phase right now. After that, we'll carve out the top 12 crews, chuck them into 2 fresh groups, and from those, we'll drag the 4 toughest bastards into the playoffs. More matches, more carnage, more time to sharpen the blades and train the monsters. What do you reckon about this new setup?
Extended qualification increases sample size. Larger samples reduce variance distortion and favor structurally sound teams over volatile ones. For analytical coaching, it is advantageous. True strength converges given sufficient trials.
My guest and yours today was Coach Rijssiej. Massive thanks for joining us and spilling the blood with us.
Gratitude is unnecessary. Observation shared improves collective understanding of the system. May your broadcast maintain accuracy within acceptable error bounds. Good day, Henry Snotson.
Right then, you glorious lot. Let's launch this new season together. 3, 2, 1, we're off! Stay warm, stay bloody, Henry Snotson, out!